foreign scene, EU bans gold imports from Sudan. Details shortly. Nice to have you join us on Global News tonight. I am Prtvc Gofuen. President Bola Tinubu has formally transmitted the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Alteration, State Police Bill 2026 to the House of Representatives, seeking constitutional approval for the establishment of state police services across the country. In a letter addressed to Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, the President said the proposed legislation is designed to amend the 1999 Constitution and create the legal framework necessary for the operation of state police as part of broader efforts to strengthen Nigeria's security architecture. Tinubu explained that the bill builds on previous legislative efforts by the House and introduces additional safeguards aimed at ensuring the effective implementation of a dual policing system involving both federal and state law enforcement agencies. According to him, the proposed framework is intended to address the country's evolving security challenges by enabling a more responsive and efficient policing structure. He said bill builds on the significant work already done in this regard by the House of Representatives and incorporates additional safeguards to ensure that the creation of a dual policing structure to address our nation's evolving national security challenges can be achieved quickly and effectively to the benefit of all Nigerians. The President described the legislation as a key element of his administration's plan to reform and modernize Nigeria's security system, expressing confidence that lawmakers will give the proposal prompt consideration. Meantime, the House of Representatives has stepped back from its own constitutional amendment proposal on state policing and will instead proceed with a similar bill submitted by the presidency. The shift became evident during Tuesday's plenary when lawmakers formally introduced the executive-sponsored Constitution Alteration Bill on state police and swiftly advanced it through both first and second readings. Following debate on the proposal, the House referred the bill to its Committee on Constitutional Review for detailed consideration. The move effectively sidelines the House's earlier state police initiative, signaling lawmakers' preference to work with the version forwarded by the executive as efforts to reform the country's policing structure gathered momentum. At the committee stage, legislators are expected to undertake a comprehensive review of the bill, examining its provisions, proposed safeguards and operational framework for the establishment of state police services across the Federation. The committee's recommendations will subsequently be presented to the full House for further debate and legislative action before any final decision is taken on the proposed constitutional amendment. Director General of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, Ayo Omotayo, has appealed to Birom stakeholders to embrace continued dialogue and to resist any actions or narratives capable of heightening tensions or undermining the long-standing harmony that existed between them over the years. Professor Omotayo stated this when he led a high-powerful delegation of management and staff of NIPS on a courtesy visit on the Bongom Jos, Da Jacob Yangbuba at his palace, Jishe. Correspondent Simon Swakia has details as continued from our studio.
Director General, National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, Professor Ayo Omotayo, said the visit is to address concerns arising from his recent media interview on Arise TV.
I wish to state clearly and without ambiguity that it was never my intention to attribute blame to the Birom people or to cast aspersion on any community. I recognize, however, that my comments have been interpreted in ways that cause concerns and distress. For this, I offer my sincere and unreserved apologies. Your Royal Majesty, I deeply regret any unintended offense caused, and I humbly seek your understanding and that of the entire nation.
Professor Omotayo added that he deeply regrets any unintended offense caused and humbly seeks the understanding of the Bongom Jos and the entire Birom nation. He assured the Bongom that the Institute is working closely with all relevant security agencies to ensure that investigations into the recent incidents are thorough, professional, and fair.
Your Royal Majesty, I'm here today not only to apologize, but to reaffirm our commitment to peace, mutual respect, and constructive engagement. We value your leadership, your wisdom, and your role as a custodian of peace and unity in this land. Going forward, we look to your Majesty's guidance and partnership as we work together to strengthen trust, foster understanding, and ensure that NIPS and its host communities continue to thrive in peace and security.
The DG reaffirmed the Institute's commitment to peace, mutual respect, and constructive engagement. Responding, the Bongom Jos, Da Jacob Gang Buba, through the Gomre of Birkin-Ladi, Edward Gang Bot, and the chairman of the Birom Elders Council, Da Dacholom Jambol, called on government to constitute a high-powered committee to investigate the attempted attack on NIPS.
The issues around NIPS appear to be unreal. So as a nation, we're asking that a serious panel or whatever team the government deems fit to be set up immediately to investigate the issues in NIPS. After which, we may be in a position to say what we want to say.
The visit to the Bongom Jos had in attendance Birom traditional rulers, elders, and the management of NIPS.
The federal government has concluded arrangements for the final evacuation of stranded Nigerians from South Africa, with 315 returnees expected to arrive in Lagos on Wednesday on Air Peace flight. This was disclosed in a statement signed on Tuesday by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimebi Imomotin Ebienfa. The statement noted that the fifth and final evacuation flight is scheduled to depart Johannesburg at 1:30 a.m. on Wednesday, July 15, 2026, and is expected to arrive at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, at about 6:30 a.m. The Air Peace operated flight marks the conclusion of the federal government's evacuation of Nigerians who indicated interest in returning home following the recent xenophobic attacks and security concerns in parts of South Africa. The government had earlier conducted 4 evacuation flights, bringing home hundreds of Nigerians as part of efforts to ensure the safety and welfare of its citizens abroad. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to protecting Nigerians wherever they may be and expressed appreciation to all stakeholders involved in the evacuation exercise. The Like Minds Progressive Forum has appealed to the national leadership of the All Progressive Congress, APC, and other critical stakeholders to address the occurrences in the Jos North constituency seat in order to save the party. Secretary of the forum, Michael Augustine, made this known during a press conference held at the NUJ Press Center in Jos. Details of the report is presented in our studio.
Briefing journalist, Secretary Like Minds Progressive Forum Michael Augustine said they are at NUJ to raise concerns over alleged irregularities in the recently concluded party primary election.
According to the results of the primary signed by Kaban Haruna, the chairman of the House of Assembly Primary Election Committee, Honorable Adamu Aliu, who was declared winner with a total vote of 13,066 votes. Honorable Harry Marcus Ishaya came second with a total vote of 1,904 votes. Shehu Bala Usman came third with a total vote of 239 votes. And Abdul Qadir Hassan came forth with a total vote of 182 votes. However, Honorable Adamu Aliu was not cleared by the party. Therefore, he stands disqualified.
He said the process was marred by actions they described as injurious to democracy, the rule of law, and the principles of government by the majority. Citing electoral law and democratic practice, the stakeholders stated that where the leading aspirant is disqualified, the candidate with the next highest number of votes should be declared winner.
It is common knowledge, based on the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that where a leading aspirant stands disqualified, the candidate with the next highest number of votes becomes winner. Therefore, since Honorable Adamu Aliu, who scored the highest vote, is not declared the winner, consequently, he stands disqualified by the party. Honorable Harry Ishaya, who is duly cleared, having fulfilled all the conditions laid down by the party, and came second with a total vote of 1,904 votes, is entitled to issue the party certificate of return, flag bearer status for the seat of the Jos North State constituency.
Augustine described the action as inconsistent with the party's constitution and undermines the integrity of the democratic process within the APC. The secretary also affirmed that Harry Ishaya has remained a loyal and dedicated member of the APC, with notable contributions to the growth of the party in Naraguta B Ward, Jos North local government area, and across the state.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has raised fresh concern over the persistent spread of Lassa fever, revealing that the disease has claimed 221 lives this year, with new infections rising steadily over a 3-week period. The latest epidemiological situation reports released by the agency for weeks 24, 25, and 26 showed that confirmed cases increased from 13 in week 24 to 22 in week 25 and further climbed to 31 in week 26, signaling renewed transmission across affected states. According to the reports, Nigeria recorded a cumulative total of 922 confirmed cases and 221 deaths by the end of week 26, June 22nd to 28, representing a case of recent significantly higher than the 18.7% recorded during the corresponding period in 2025. The reports indicated that the latest 31 confirmed cases were recorded in Ondo, Taraba, Benue, and Bauchi states, with Ondo and Bauchi remaining among the country's major hotspots. Earlier reports showed that week 25 recorded 22 new confirmed cases in Ondo, Taraba, Benue, and Bauchi states, while week 24 recorded 13 new infections from Ondo, Edo, Taraba, Benue, and Bauchi. Despite intensified surveillance and response efforts, the disease has now spread across 23 states and 111 local government areas, underscoring its continued public health threat. The NCDC disclosed that 85% of all confirmed cases this year originated from just 5 states: Bauchi, Ondo, Taraba, Benue, and Edo, highlighting the concentration of infections in known endemic areas. The agency also revealed that young adults aged between 21 and 30 years remain the most affected age group, a trend that has remained consistent throughout the outbreak. The reports further showed that healthcare workers continue to face occupational risk from the disease. One healthcare worker was infected in week 24 and none in week 25, while another healthcare worker contracted the disease in week 26. The culminative figures reflect a steady rise in infections over the 3 weeks. By week 24, the country had recorded 868 confirmed cases and 216 deaths, with a case fatality rate of 24.9% compared to 18.9% during the same period in 2025. And when we return after the break, federal government launches guidelines for food procurement. Please stay with us. Glad to have you rejoin us. The Nigerian government has launched the National Guidelines for Public Procurement of Food and Related Services to promote healthier diets, improve nutrition, and strengthen food systems across public institutions in Nigeria. Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isaac Adekunle Salako, unveiled the guidelines in Abuja, describing them as a transformative policy that will reposition public procurement as a strategic tool for improving nutrition, preventing diseases, and supporting sustainable national development. He said government food procurement should go beyond meeting administrative requirements and instead encourage healthier food choices. Dr. Salako noted that unhealthy diets contributes to an estimated 7.2 million deaths globally each year. He added that Nigerians consume an average of 3.9 grams of sodium daily, nearly double the World Health Organization's recommended limit of 2 grams. According to him, excessive consumption of salt, industrial trans fats, and sugar-sweetened beverages is fueling the rising burden of cardiovascular diseases, obesity, and diabetes in the country. The minister also expressed concern over Nigeria's malnutrition challenge, revealing that nearly half of deaths among children under the age of 5 are linked to malnutrition. He said about 4 in every 10 Nigerian children under 5 are stunted, while nearly 2 million children suffer severe acute malnutrition annually, warning that the situation threatens the country's human capital, education outcomes, and economic productivity. Dr. Salako explained that the new guidelines provide evidence-based standards for food procurement across public institutions by promoting balanced diets and limiting sodium, sugar, and unhealthy fats. The Christian Health Association of Nigeria, CHAN, has pledged to provide 200 free medicated glasses to members of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, Plateau State Council. Country Director of CHAN, Suleiman Michelia, made the commitment while receiving State Chairperson of the NUJ, Ayuku Pwaspo, and members of her Executive Council on a courtesy visit to his office. Our correspondent reports.
CHAN is the 700 membership faith-based private organization with membership drawn from the Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria, Northern Christian Medical Advisory Council of Nigeria, and Christian Council of Nigeria. Country Director of the Christian Health Association of Nigeria, Suleiman Ushelia, while welcoming the NUJ chairman and her delegation, expressed the association's readiness to partner with the council in promoting the welfare of journalists. Ushelia explained that CHAN is involved in several healthcare missions across the country, filling the existing healthcare gap while engaging governments to support faith-based healthcare institutions.
Currently, we have projects that are at the community level. We have immunization projects funded by Gavi in Borno, Sokoto, Kaduna, and Plateau. We have the eyeglass project. We give free eyeglasses pressed by Ethiopia in Borno, in Sokoto, Plateau, and Kaduna, and Benue.
Chairperson of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Plateau State Council, Ayuku Pwaspo, said the visit was aimed at strengthening the relationship between the organizations and exploring areas of collaboration. She commended Chan for its contributions to healthcare delivery and appealed to the association to extend its community service initiatives to journalists.
We were excited that you're doing so much, not just in one aspect, but in so many other aspects. And we hope that our advocacy to your office today, our Prtvc, will indeed raise more awareness, on your workings with them to see how, on our own side, we can also push for these things to be achieved.
The visit climaxed with the presentation of gifts to the NUJ chairperson and members of her delegation by the country director, who also took the delegation around the Chan's facility and briefed them on the organization's plan for self-sustainability. In Jos, I am Janet Asut.
Moving on, despite the ongoing harvest of major root crops in the state, many people are yet to enjoy the usual price relief associated with the harvest season. Across markets, yam, sweet and Irish potatoes remain expensive, with farmers attributing the high prices to transportation costs, the rising price of fertilizer and insecurity. Our correspondent visited the Yendoya and Bukuru market to ascertain the development and now reports.
A visit to the Yendoya market in Jos showed that fresh root crops to include yam, Irish potatoes, sweet potatoes and cocoyam are becoming more available. While supply has improved compared to the previous months, the increase has not translated to a substantial reduction in prices. According to the secretary Yendoya Market Jos, Mansour Gerba, the new yam harvested has not fully circulated the market compared to the availability of the old stock, hence the high cost.
This time around, we have never heard of the high price, this big size. We can sell it at the rate of 4,000 per one. There is one of 5,000 per one, and even 6,000 per one, which means we are selling it in hundreds. We have the 600,000 per 100, 500 per 100, 450, 300. The list is 250.
An Irish potatoes trader, Safia Mashat, who acknowledged the high demand, attributed the high cost of Irish potatoes to the disease that affected the crops on the farm, which led to low production.
The bag of Irish now, the new one, now the selected one are 75. The next one is 70, there is 65.
Also speaking, a sweet potatoes trader, Aliyu Usaini, said 10 liters container of sweet potatoes was sold for 2,000 naira, but with the new harvest, it is sold between 3,000 naira to 3,500 naira due to the cost of transportation. Some consumers, Victoria Ilia and Awal Yusuf, expressed disappointment that the new harvest has not translated to the reduction in prices as expected, calling on the government to address challenges affecting food production and distribution.
It's because of the insecurity. That's why the price rise up.
Ya kamata gwamnati ta taimaka wajen maganar taki, a rage kuɗin taki. Saboda transport, nan ma akwai damuwa.
As the harvest season progresses, many consumers remain hopeful that the prices of these root crops will be on a lower cost for the benefit of consumers. In Jos, Modesty Nianglong.
Another suspect who has been in custody of the Jos custodial for years has been discharged and acquitted by a Jos High Court. Philip Gukas was wrongfully arrested by personnel of the Operation Enduring Peace on the allegation of killing a Fulani leader in Panyam district of Mangu local government area. Our correspondent reports that Philip Gukas, an indigene of Panyam, was arrested sometime in 2023 after the outbreak of hostilities occasioned by countless attacks on communities in the locality by herdsmen. It was at the moment that news of the alleged killing of a Fulani herder's community leader filtered in, fingering Gukas amongst mastermind of the killing. He was arrested and investigated by operatives of the OEP, and even though the investigating team found him not culpable and advised against his further detention, higher authorities insisted on prosecuting him in court. Since then, the case has been ongoing in High Court number 12, Jos, with the State Minister of Justice prosecuting. In his judgment, Justice Jacob Longden considered testimonies of witnesses, particularly that of the investigating officer who said he did not arrest the defendant at the scene of the crime. Neither was there any evidence adduced by the prosecution showing that the defendant shared common intention with other youths alleged to have killed the deceased. Justice Longden also considered other compelling variables that would have led to the conviction of the defendant, but found none, as the prosecution failed to convince the court to that effect. The judge consequently found the defendant not guilty of culpable homicide and accordingly discharged and acquitted him. And finally, on the foreign scene, the European Union, EU, has banned the purchase, import and transfer of gold from Sudan, saying the trade has become a key source of financing for the country's civil war that erupted in April 2023. The conflict between the regular army and the paramilitary rapid support forces has triggered one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, forcing more than 14 million people from their homes. Sudan is one of Africa's largest gold producers, and its vast reserves have become a crucial source of revenue for both sides, according to rights groups. EU foreign ministers approved the measures alongside a ban on exports to Sudan of mercury and chemicals widely used in gold mining. According to UN experts and other analysts, more than half, and by some estimates, much as 70% of Sudan's gold is smuggled out of the country each year. The gold is often trafficked through neighboring countries, including Egypt, Chad, and Libya, before reaching Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, UAE, a major global hub for gold refining and trade. And that is it on Global News this evening, except for the recap. In the news, we told you that President Bola Tinubu has formally transmitted the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria Alteration State Police Bill 2026 to the House of Representatives, seeking constitutional approval for the establishment of state police services across the country. In a letter addressed to Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, the President said the proposed legislation is designed to amend the 1999 Constitution and create the legal framework necessary for the operation of state police as part of broader efforts to strengthen Nigeria's security architecture. Director General of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, Ayo Omotayo, has appealed to Biram stakeholders to embrace continued dialogue and to resist any actions or narratives capable of heightening tensions or undermine the long-standing harmony that has existed between them over the years. Professor Omotayo stated this when he led a high-powerful delegation of management and staff of NIPS on a courtesy visit on the Bongom Jos, Da Jacob Gyangbuba, at his palace, Jishe. The federal government has concluded arrangements for the final evacuation of stranded Nigerians from South Africa, with 315 returnees expected to arrive in Lagos on Wednesday on an Air Peace flight. This was disclosed in a statement signed on Tuesday by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimebi Imomumtin Ibienfa. The European Union has banned the purchase, import and transfer of gold from Sudan, saying the trade has become a key source of financing for the country's civil war that erupted in April 2023. That is it on Global News this evening. Many thanks for watching. Good night and God bless.
Hello, I am Apostle Joseph Domkat Dalladi, the president of Global Life Mission Church.